Everybody, I'm Kathy Hester. Welcome to my kitchen. I was going to do an experiment, so I was like, why don't I go live and do an experiment and see how that works out? And I think that will be lovely. So what I want to do is I wanted to create, basically, we have, let's get this way, a vegan Bailey's now in the States, right? And I want to create a vegan non-alcoholic Bailey's. So I thought it could be fun, and I thought I could use the Archimera for the base, and we can add a few things in. I've been doing some research, so let me know. Hey Deb, it's awesome to see you. Say hi like Deb did. Let me know how you're doing. Do you do St. Patrick's Day, which is coming up? Do you do alcohol? I will say this, even if we make this lower sugar, the non-alcohol or no alcohol spirits are going to have some kind of sweetener in there. Mary and Linda, I'm looking forward to learning how to make it too. I've never made it like this, so it's going to be an exciting experiment. And hey Mary, so let me show you this. Yeah, here we go. So you don't have to have Liar's brand, and I think I have another, let me bring this down a little bit. And I do have another bourbon. Woo, that camera. Now these, let's do this. Okay, and I'll bring that other one over too, so you can kind of get a look at it. And we'll talk a little bit about these. I've been experimenting with them a lot lately. Yeah, I do have another bourbon. Actually, I have two other bourbons. I'll bring those over. I have a whole bar cart over here full of non-alcoholic liquors or spirits. So there's a Ritual. So it's just all different brand names. You can see why I'm drawn toward the Liars. They have the cutest little drawings on all their bottles. And how can you not like that? Hey CJ! And is it Darmarie? And I'm so sorry for saying it the wrong way. Or is it just Darmarie? So that's awesome. So this is perfect. So what we're going to do, and why I kind of wanted to show you this, is I'm going to take a little of all this, and you're going to kind of see the process I go about flavoring things. So in here, I have some of the alcoholic Baileys. Now, I will say, and actually let me show you that this way too, in case you haven't seen it. And it is vegan. So you've got that, but it does have alcohol in it. It's 13% alcohol. And it's Bailey's Almondine. It's made with almond milk, but it also has some almond flavoring in there. So we can decide if that's something we want to be a part of or not. But that's what I'm going to be using as a little bit of a reference point all the way through this. And it is Darmarie. Awesome. Thank you. And hey, Mary Ellen, and you're in Sussex, New Brunswick, Canada. And Dee is from Florida here. Excellent, you guys. It looks really cloudy, and that's my water boiling because I'm going to go ahead and also brew some coffee in a minute. Well, not coffee, and we'll talk about that. I'm actually going to brew some Ticino that has no caffeine in it so that I can have a little, hopefully Bailey's Ticino, and then we can see if it holds together in coffee substitute, though this is pretty acidic in some ways, so I think it will cause it to come apart. And you'll get to see how I'm smelling these different ones, and I'll give you my takes. This Monday bourbon is pretty nice, has some maple, lots of barrel or woody flavor. I don't even think I've tried this Ritual one. I think I just opened it and smelled it. And Ritual typically mimics the burn of alcohol with hot peppers. So each one is going to be different, just like if we had a bunch of whiskeys. Now, the Lyre's does tend to be sweeter, and I think the Lyre's, the malt has a glucose syrup and caramel sugar syrup. So again, I just want to be real plain with you that, and it is like, what does it say? Sometimes they'll say less than, but this says non-alcoholic. This one also says non-alcoholic. Let me see with these two as well. Now, if you are in AA or are avoiding alcohol for some other reasons than health, we don't have to use these. If these are a trigger for you, just throw it out. Don't use it, okay? And we could use some whiskey flavoring, or we could maybe put in, we'll talk about some other things. You guys ask me as we go along, but this is not about making you uncomfortable. This is to give you something that would work, hopefully, for most people. If it doesn't work for you, it's okay just not to have it too. But we'll talk about all these different things, all right? Hey, Stephanie, it's awesome to see you here today. All right, guys. So I think the first thing I want to do is I kind of want to make a cream base, okay? So I don't want to put oats in it. I'm just going to use the Arc Mira. It makes about 2 cups. Could you make this in your blender? Yes, you could. The only thing is if we use some heat, which I'm thinking of doing, because, okay, I want to avoid oats because I'd like it to last for more than 2 days. And I don't see myself drinking all this. And this is something you could use as a coffee creamer any day of the week because there's no alcohol. Hey, Sandri and Kelly. Okay, so I have some slivered toasted almonds. And I'm thinking that will be a good way to get some of that almond flavor in there. Now, it is very, very creamy. So a lot of the recipes when I was researching use like sweetened condensed milk. I do have 2 emergency options. I have some sweetened condensed oat milk, which I found, which I was very excited about, and would rather not use in this. Which is going to introduce sugar to the mix as well, using some of these anyhow. So then I get these little cartons of coconut milk. I'll let you see from up there. And I like these just because they're tiny, and if I use a little bit, so if we just need to thicken it up a little bit to make it rich, this is what we'll add in first, for sure. And Kelly's saying, did I toast the almonds or did I buy them toasted? I bought these at Trader Joe's and they're already slivered too. This is one of my favorite salad toppings. And I also, if you look on YouTube, I have a candy bar creamer. And actually this could be, it'll be interesting to see how similar it is. I'm going to put 2 heaping tablespoons. I'm also going to keep notes over here. And I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of cashews because basically what we're making is a creamer. And I was just at Trader Joe's, so they still had them. And again, we're avoiding the oats just because oats don't last quite as long. Now, here's what I'm thinking. Let's look here for a minute. What I'm trying to decide, because the almonds are going to make a nicer milk if they are soaked or I use the warm setting, which is what I was planning on doing. Now, I don't think it's really going to degrade any of the flavors in these, but let's see. And let me, I just want to taste this ritual, and I just want like a drop. Very sweet, got some pecan smoke, a little bit of bite to it. I don't think it's going to be good in this. So I'm going to say no to that one. I tasted both of these. So the Highland Malt is definitely peatier, and this is sweeter. So I'm thinking of maybe doing a 1/4 cup of each to start off with. But let me try this Monday again. I really liked it. Most non-alcoholic spirits are better mixed in a drink rather than, you know, like over ice. This one almost has some tea flavors, and then it does have some of the bite back, which means it's using peppers, right? Usually it's the alcohol burning our mouths, and I kind of like that. And let me go ahead and compare it to all of them. This one is very light. It has very little, it's almost watery, but it has the bourbon barrel flavor. And this is the Lyre's American Malt. And, oh, Gina said, I used to love Irish cream and coffee. That's awesome. And so hopefully this will all work out well. We might be coming back for try 2, because you're here with my very first experiment in this way. This one's sweeter. It's got that peaty, mossy flavor. Okay. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to start and put a 1/4 cup of each in here and some water. But in class, we used real Irish whiskey, cooked off the alcohol, and made this wonderful cream sauce that just the peatiness of everything just really added to everything. And we may need to add more, but I knew we would add at least this. Now, one thing you might be thinking is, ooh, I bet those non-alcoholic versions are cheaper. No, they're not. These tend to be between $25 to $30 a bottle US. So know that too. And they have a Kahlua, actually, when all of these spirits, this is not alcohol-free. Everything else I'm showing you today is alcohol-free. So the Monday, see, 0 alcohol, non-alcoholic spirits, and I'll show you guys all again, non-alcoholic spirits. I just love the Lyre's. And this was the Ritual, which I just didn't think was going to add a lot to the mixture we're doing today. It probably would be better than any of the others over ice because it's got a bite and a little more flavor. Yeah, all alcohol free. And that's why I thought it would be really cool. Yay! And Liz Lena said she used to make it every year during the holidays. And that's awesome too. You guys can kind of, let's get down in here a little bit more for a second. So what we have in now is we have 2 tablespoons of slivered toasted almonds, 2 tablespoons cashews, a 1/4 cup of both Lyre's Scotch and whiskey. And here's the thing too. Let me be clear with you guys. I have all these right now. If you had one, if I only had the one that I don't like that much for this, that's what I'd be using, and then I would be upping different flavors with things. So maybe if it wasn't smoky enough, maybe I'd add a little liquid smoke or some pecans, right? So I do not expect you to buy $60 worth of Lyre's to make this, but I'm going to make it the best way I can. So if you have, and Total Wine in the US is carrying a lot of these right now. So that's super cool. Oh, and CJ says there's a Lyre's over there. And Lyre's are actually from Australia. And I think that's why once they get here. Oh, I used to love B52s. It was like Kahlua, Irish cream, and Grand Marnier. Yum. And you can make that with this. If we get the Irish cream down, I have I have an orange liqueur, and I have a coffee liqueur from Lyre's. I have almost all of their range that I've been playing with. So it's super cool. Okay, so I'm going to smell. It smells like a nice little blend. I think I'm also going to go ahead. I want to infuse some of these spices, so I'm going to smell my cinnamon, and I'm going to smell the original Baileys. And I think there is a little bit in, so I'm going to put 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. And here's the thing too, here we go. I know I got this out. And so since we're going to cook it warm, that's going to help infuse it into the old things, to the whole thing. And it also, I've saw some recipes talking about nutmeg. So let's see if I can see any hints of nutmeg. I do. So I'm going to do a pinch of nutmeg. And a pinch is probably 1/32 of a teaspoon, but a pinch is fine, okay? So we're going to do a pinch of nutmeg. And I think I'm going to do about 1/2 teaspoon of orange zest. Maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon. Just doing very little. And you can see in here. Can you see the little? There's not much. I didn't use my smallest peeler because we're going to be, chopping it up in here anyhow. But what I will do is make sure all of this is down from the sides. I'm also trying to make a call if I want to put 1/2 cup each of those liqueurs, or those zero alcohol liquors. And then, because we're going to be adding water in there, and it's going to take away from that flavor. So I think I am going to up it to 1/2 cup, which means I'm going to add 1/4 cup more of the scotch. Because I just don't want to dilute these flavors too much. I'm a little nervous about cooking them, so we may try the room temperature twice, because we're really working with some subtle stuff here. And that fills it about halfway up. I am using the Arc Mira. Let's see if we can kind of see that there a little bit. So it holds a little bit more. So that gives us a cup of that. We've got a few more things. I've got some date paste. And let me smell and see if we can get away with date paste, or if we need to go straight to maple syrup. Because there's sugars in these already. So if you're absolutely no kinds of sugar except for date paste, I would just make everything but the whiskey, and maybe use like a whiskey flavoring. I think Loran even has Irish cream flavoring. But again, it just depends on what's acceptable in your diet. I think it smells pretty good. Okay, so there is some sweetener in there, but let's see. I made date paste instead of using dates because they were old, hard Deglet Norb dates. So they just weren't very nice. So let's put 1/4 cup in. And also I'm doing this because we're supposed to have a spin bike delivered, and I was thinking surely this would make it happen sooner. Let me smell here. I'm tempted to go ahead and do the rest of this, so 1/2 cup. Because again, this is not something we're just going to be drinking on its own. I think the rest of it will go in here just fine. So it'll be 1/2 cup. And you could do this in just plain dates. And if I get too much sweetener in here, I'll just do something else. But honestly, Irish cream is pretty daggone sweet. But I think this date flavoring, that kind of darkness of it, is going to be really good. Let's see, what else was I thinking? Oh, we got to have some cocoa, and I've got some cacao powder here. And the date, that's a really great question, CJ. And the date paste is just dates and water. Literally what happened, I'm going to move this back a little bit, is I soaked the dates and I just pureed it in the water I soaked it in, honestly. Oh, you guys are so sweet. I thought you might like this, but like I said, it's a free-for-all though. Let's start out with a teaspoon of cacao powder. Maybe. Yeah, there's definitely cacao in here. Let's do a teaspoon. And we're probably not going to get exactly the same, but we can come pretty close. I'm trying to look at my other notes. I looked at a bunch of recipes. 1 teaspoon cacao. Some people use maple syrup. That's where I'm using the date paste. And let's see, we're pretty close to the men line. So I'm just going to then add water to the men line. And it's like really like this. So I want to see how it goes. Let me pour some of my water into here. So I think it's going to be about 1/4 cup. I'll pour 1/2 cup in here. And then we can make some coffee too while this is going. And it was a little less, so we'll go ahead and put a whole 1/4 cup in, just to make it easier for when you guys are trying to replicate this. If I don't use any heat and just blend it twice, you guys could totally make this in your blender. I'm trying to not overcomplicate things, but I'm still me, right? So, and we did 1/4 cup water. And actually, if there's any little scrapes in here, you know I love a spatula, people. Get all the goodness. And I'm just going to scrape all that down. And I'm going to press the water so it can get hot again. And I'll let you see from the top. It doesn't look super blazing. Lots of stuff. Now another thing you could do at some point is put a pinch of salt in, but I don't think we're going to need it. Someone was asking me why I like Arc Mira better than Nutter, and we can talk about that a little bit. One of the things I like is this lets steam out, so it's less likely to boil over. There's also a couple of extra blades, and it's quieter. So what's not to like about all that, right? For sure. Oh, and Kelly says she's been torn of which milk maker to get. And if you have some questions about that, I'll totally take those questions. Oh my goodness, you guys, I'm addicted to her videos. Thank you. Because really, we're just hanging out. And I love that. Okay, so anyhow, let me shut up. We'll do a room temperature, which is going to be 5 minutes. And see, that's right up to the microphone. And it's just, now, if I just used cashews and I didn't use the almonds, we probably wouldn't have to blend a second time. But I think the almond flavor is going to be a little nicer if we do it this way than just add almond extract. It'll be a little more subtle. And though it may not seem like I'm ever about subtle, sometimes with flavors it works out well. Okay, so you guys can see these. I'm already making a mess. You guys, I had so much to clean up after the Ask Me Anything plant milk maker thing. And there's a lot of milk in there. And I'm going to be on Chef AJ's show tomorrow, St. Patrick's Day, Friday, at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to be showing her how to use her Ninja Creamy Deluxe. And we're going to spin a couple of recipes. If this works out well, this could go in one of the recipes. So I'm going to use this Ticino, and let me talk about it for a minute. Ooh, that's like right up in your face. Here we go. Okay, so this is the ones like this. It has some mushrooms in it. This has turkey tail. It also is toasted maple flavor, which I thought would be delicious with this Bailey's. So what's in here, and I'm not going to be able to read. I'm going to read it to you this way, because honestly, I don't think you can read it, and I can't read it upside down that small. It's got carob pods, chicory root, barley, which does have gluten in it, but they say, and I'll read you the thing about gluten. Dates, oh my goodness, astragalus root, I know I butchered that, turkey tail extract, natural maple flavor, and figs. About gluten. Independent laboratory tests cannot detect gluten in brewed Ticino when using a paper filter or tea bag. So that's not what I'm doing. It is all vegan as well. And we can make it a couple different ways. Yes, Chef AJ is unboxing her Ninja Creamy Deluxe tomorrow with me. So that is also going to be great. And thank you, Kelly. You're so sweet. I make cold brew coffee, and so you guys know I did cold brew in a French press. I usually use this, and somebody sent it to me. They aren't making them anymore, but it's just a filter. You put the coffee in, you put the water in, you take this out, you pour it off. Now, a French press, Ticino says don't cold brew Ticino. And I disagree, because Ticino is really strong. But I also like wussy coffee. I like super milky coffee. But we're going to make a French press of it, which I don't normally do. So it'll be exciting. So I think my water is ready. Yes. So it says and it gives you instructions for drip coffee maker, filter cone, French press, espresso machine. And iced Ticino, it says, you can make it stronger. I've made it in this, and it works great. And it has a little bit of sweetness to it. And so for a French press, it says 2 to 3 teaspoons to a 3 cup, which maybe this is. I have no idea. It's going to be plenty for me. We'll put 2. And then it's supposed to brew 3 minutes, and I'm kind of hoping this will all happen at the same time. Nope, that's 1 minute. So I'm gonna pour this over. And you guys can kind of see how dark it is already. So like I said, it's plenty dark for me. Any leftovers, I will put in the fridge, and I'll just use it as iced coffee. Oh, there was a butterscotch one I found. I've only found these at this one co-op in Asheville when we go. But, and so when I see them, I grab a couple of them. And Stephanie said if I had coffee right now, I would not be able to sleep. You and me both, sister. So I have to stop. And now I get to have my 1 coffee a day, and I'm very excited about that, because it was like a year and a half I couldn't have any caffeine. So I was drinking this pretty regularly. There's no caffeine in Ticino. There's another one that Chef AJ likes. There's like a dandelion blend that I have, but I haven't used yet. Oh, what do I think? Turkey tail. It's turkey tail mushroom is what it is. So this one again. So like there's a and the mushroom I can't pronounce. I didn't see that, or I would have just like not read you the ingredients. So some of them, so it's adapt, protect, revitalize. The rock stars of the plant and mushroom kingdoms are blended together to infuse ultimate protection into your cup. Turkey tail, used for thousands of years in Asia for balance and support, is paired with the one I can't say. Chinese eaten soup to ward off illness. So it's just little, but there's no caffeine. There's no caffeine at all. Okay, I'm going to unplug this. Oh, I like the hazelnut too. I love all the flavors. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. Okay. Oh, it smells pretty good. So let's do a little smelling and see where we need to adjust things. Interesting. The smell is really, really similar. Now, I'm going to have chunks in this at this point, right? Oh, the Liars did a great job. Yeah. I mean, I can taste the alcohol in this. We can only replicate it so much. Okay, I'll use a clean spoon. I'll be good. Sometimes I'm like, I didn't use a clean spoon. It's all mine. Mine. It's a little bit date forward. I did not put any vanilla in there. So let's go ahead and put in yeah, there's definitely vanilla. Let's put a half, so that's my 3 minutes, and it takes nothing to press this down because there's almost nothing in there. Ta-da! Let's put, I don't know if I want to go ahead and put a whole teaspoon. Do I have half a teaspoon? Yes. I'm going to put half a teaspoon vanilla in here. We're going to blend it one more time. We also have some room in here. I didn't go up to the max fill line because it's an experiment, right? And let me write this down before I forget. We may have to alter things. And we may need to add a little bit more water. I'm very shocked because it's very, very thick. But let's go ahead and run it one more time because I didn't soak those toasted almonds. So we'll do room temperature 5 more minutes. There we go. All right, let's see what questions we have. And so this is just our little Ticino coffee. And I think it is just very dark and strong. And I don't know about how some of you other guys may feel about that. Because, you know, I'm going to put it about halfway full and we'll see what happens. It smells delicious though. It definitely has a lot of coffee flavors. And again, this is we're doing the toasted maple adaptogen one. And Kelly's saying she's had the vanilla nut and the almond amaretto, which sounds really good. And Gina likes the vanilla nut and the hazelnut. And there's like a coffee one, not a coffee one, a chocolate mint. Some of them come in little tea bags that you could carry with you. And I travel with some of those actually. And I think they're quite nice. So they're saying that through a filter, it seems to take out the gluten per what they have seen in studies. They do have some gluten-free ones, but they don't have the fun flavors. And I use it when I have to, for sure. Oh, where did I get my coffee? This coffee press? It's just the cheapest Bodum you can find. So, and I think I linked to it in the French press cold brew coffee video. So if you're in YouTube and you go to, I'm trying to think, yeah, I did that as a video, not a live. You'll see it and you can click on it and find the exact one. And thank you for buying through my affiliate links. I'll just, Yeah, and the Dandy blend does not have any caffeine as well. So all of these like grain coffee substitutes, they get that kind of bitterness and darkness that coffee does. It's a lot like what we're trying to do now. They've taken all these blends and made this thing that tastes a lot like coffee. And it's pretty nice. And Ms. Ira says, I love chicory root, no caffeine at all, and sometimes mix it with some decaf. And chicory root's what's in New Orleans coffee. So a cafe au lait, New Orleans style, is coffee with chicory and steamed milk. And I lived in New Orleans for 12 years, and so like Cafe du Monde, there were a whole bunch. Actually, there was super, super, super cheap coffee. If you ever get to New Orleans, just go to a regular grocery store and you can stock up on some really nice coffee with chicory at much less than you could buy it if you're not there. And Gina has the tea bags, and they do have a dark chocolate. And Beth is saying French roast flavor. Beth, did I miss something else you said? No. And yeah, it does have I think it does have a dark roast or French roast. Oh, you're saying, yes, Ticino has a French roast flavor. Sorry about that. We have 2 minutes. And then we might double strain this. And I've got a little thing for us to see, unless we end up adding some more stuff to it. We'll see. Trying to see. Maybe what I'll do is I'll get a little bowl. It'll be easier for us to double or triple strain it. Or I could use this. I've got a little bit of water and pour that right back in there. And that'll tell us how much it makes and stuff. And we can still make some adjustments. So again, if you're like, is this why I should buy the arc mirror? No. If we've used this on heat, yes, because the warm cycle on the arc mirror is another reason I like it, and the Nutter. Let me bring the Nutter over, because I brought them over yesterday, but I didn't talk about them as much. So I think the Nutter has better insulation. It's a little bit bigger, does about a ½ cup more. This has a cute little thing where you can look in, and I'll show you once we pour this out. This has 4 blades. This one kind of has 4 blades about the same and 2 extra blades. But both of them have the same cycles. Some of the Chinese small milk makers do not have the warm, and the warm runs for 5 minutes, just like the room temperature one we've been doing. Why is that important? Why do I care about that? That's where I can brew tea and make my creamer. So what I've done in videos, and you guys can check this out on YouTube too, is, I've put in some cashews and some oats and some chai tea with all the spices and everything already in it. Brew it. Same thing with London fog tea. Or I can put some of my cold brew or some Ticino in there and make a latte. So that's one of the reasons I like it. The Arc Mirror, if you can get it on sale, is oftentimes half the price of the Nutter. I feel like a lot of little things about it just seem to be better made. You can get in touch with the Nutter people. We don't know who the Arc Mirror people are. We just don't know at all. So I would encourage you, maybe with this special or this, to buy a warranty. Now Nutter is giving you a year warranty. Before they were only giving you a 6-month warranty. And I had trouble getting a replacement, and they had sent it to me as an influencer, which makes me very nervous. The first thing they said is, oh, it's out of warranty, and it wasn't when we emailed them. It had been within 6 months. So sometimes, and I don't know about right now, sometimes you can, like last weekend, you could get it for $85. It goes between $109 to $85. But I would put like an alert on it. And yeah, so far I'm happy. I've had Well, actually, I probably used it as much as I did the Nutter, maybe even a little bit more, including the one I had before. Okay, so let's try. I'm going to taste this again. New spoon. Got a little vanilla in it now. It's still very thick. You can taste the like more raw sugar in that one. I think it's pretty good though. Okay, let's do this, and then or actually let me see if I've got some questions. Stephanie says, you made that so fast, I'm intrigued in maybe buying a press on enjoying my coffee sooner. I think it's 5 to 7 minutes with regular coffee. I don't know because I cold brew all my coffee. Vanilla nut and almond amaretto are really good. Yeah, and often with the Ticino, you don't need a sweetener or much less. Unsweetened nut pod creamer is delicious, and that would be delicious in this too if you had some. Nut pods, you can get, oh here, I have a nut pod. So like this is an oat creamer, and it will say things like unsweetened or what it's sweetened with, dairy-free. Sometimes they're oats, sometimes they're nuts. No surprise there, right? Nut pods. And it's a really thick creamer. It is not low fat. I will tell you one thing, it is delicious in a Ninja Creamy. It is delicious. But it's very high fat, so that's something we do maybe once or twice a year or cut it about half and half. But that would be a good base for this too. And Beth says, I love making the cold brew with it. Oh, you learned from my video, yay! That's so awesome, because the thing is if you buy cold brew already made, it's very expensive. And if you keep an eye out, you can find coffee on sale a lot of places. And then I can't buy pre-made decaf. I surely can't buy pre-made decaf pecan. So I just I like having control over all of that. It makes me happy. Yeah, the Elmhurst creamers are really nice too. I'm still going for let's make our own more, because then we can kind of do that. Yes, you can buy a 4-year warranty with the Arc Mirror. And I just say that because nobody's reached out to me. I bought this one because I was like, it looks like that, but it looks a little different. Let me see what it does. And anyhow, I like it. Now, it could break on me. I did not get the warranty because I just like to live dangerously. Okay, we're going to go ahead and just double strain this a little bit. We can always make it thinner, but it's hard to make it thicker, right? So let me get every tiny little bit out of here because I'm the crazy spatula lady. Hello, it's nice to meet you. Hopefully you are the crazy spatula watcher. It just makes cleanup easier. It's less waste. I'm going to set this here for a second because I just want to show you. Can you see the 2 little baby blades? And I feel like, here, I'm going to just move all this over. When you look at the blades, this one part at the top is serrated, right, let's see, right there. Okay, here we've got serrated oh, that didn't help you at all. We've got serrated up and down that bottom blade. And then it's hard to see, but there's the 2 little baby blades that are pointed up. And I think that helps mix things around a little more. So, and there's this little dot. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. So hard to see that little dot. That also is about temperature and not boiling over, and this one does not have that. if you look at the tops, they're pretty much just, well, I mean, this one's see-through, this one's not. This one has holes to let steam out, this one does not. The way the brackets are here to hold the lid, it's a little thinner on this than it is here. This has 2 seals instead of 1. And I feel like the lid locks on better. See how I can't, I'm really trying to kind of move it. It's not moving. If I put this on, and I can move it out, and then it'll give an error when it's not right here. So that's why I kind of like that one more. Now, what I'm not saying is if you have a nutter, get rid of it. It works great, works fine. It looks like there's a Nutter 2.0 in the works. I saw an Indiegogo, and maybe that'll be, it looked like it had a lot of the things that the Arc Mira have. So, you know, who knows? There's no right one milk maker for every single person on the earth. There's just not. I like these small milk makers for doing things like this. Creamers, I can make Ninja Creamy pints in there, so like make things like similar to nut pods or creamers and things that you would buy that are getting pretty expensive. Okay, so, oh, and there's more comments too, so let's see. I can never get cold brew out of the house, says Stephanie. The places always tell, they only make, and they do, they only make regular cold brew. But you know what? At my house, for years, I only had decaf. And yay, Stephanie is also a scraper. Get it all, gal. Yeah, you know, you spent that money. Will I be able to post this? Probably. If it works, I've written the notes down. I may take some pictures or something tomorrow because it's too late for me to take good photos. Oh, you're so funny. I would love to have my own gadget channel. Okay, so anyhow, so I'm going ahead and straining it twice because I used unsoaked almonds, although we didn't have almond skins because they were slivered and it was toasted, so there may not be as much gunk as I'm anticipating. And there doesn't look like there is that much. So this is actually the strainer that came with the Mio Mat with the white. And look at that, that's pretty good. I do find when I'm using something like the Almond Cow, which does not blend as long. Look at that, yeah, that looks good. I'm happy. And when I actually was at a Veg Fest and made the candy bar creamer in the Mio Mat. I'm going to put this over in the sink and then I'm going to rinse it off because I can't help myself. So I'm sorry. But don't you all want me to be a nice person for longer than just a minute, right? Okay, now this is a double one. So this may even get more, but maybe I was overreacting. And you could make like double this or triple this and do it in like an Almond Cow or a Mio Mat. Actually, you could do it even a small amount in the Almond Cow. I would blend maybe 3 to 4 times though, because it goes through a cycle pretty quick. It blends, stops, blends, stops, blends, stops. Whereas we're looking, see, look at that. Actually, it did really good. Little Arc Mira, I'm so proud of you. Look at that. There's almost no pulp. Really, almost none. Now, if I had put oat in there, there would have been a lot more. I'm going to go ahead and scrape this out. Now, it's pretty thick, so let's see what we want to do about that. And you know I'm coming over here and I'm going to rinse this too, because I want to be a happy, nice person. And if I have to scrub these, I will not be. It's too much to ask. Okay, so let me get a tablespoon so we can kind of just move this around mix it up real good because some of the thicker parts came out the end. So we're looking at something about like that, and I'll show you from the front. I don't have a regular Bailey's to look at, so, but this does leave a film. Here we go. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it's a thicker film, so it's thicker than this is. It's pretty smooth. I think we could use less date paste. Because what did I do? I did a half a cup of date paste. I think I might say a quarter to a half date paste. Or dates, medjool dates, pitted medjool dates to taste. It's not bad, it's just date forward. Because of that, I'm wondering, I think I'm going to put a quarter cup more of one of the liquors. Let me see what you guys are saying though too. Oh, you guys are great. And Stephanie says, I like Trader Joe's unsweetened creamer. It's in the white and green carton. I haven't looked at the ingredients on that. If you list them, we can see if we can make a copycat. Okay, so again, and let me show you this, just so you can see that while there's not really anything the strainer can get out, it is still not absolute perfection. So you could blend it in the Vitamix until it got warm if you wanted to. Just to take, but I mean, it's not gritty. It's just not perfect, right? Oh, I like that. Date forward means caramel almond. Yeah, that's very true. And there is a caramel Bailey's. I'm just not tasting it because there's not a vegan one. I think what I want to do is do another quarter cup. I think I'm going to do the Scotch, but let's see. Let me smell the, and I do all the smelling all the time because when we're getting down to these like minuscule ideas, smelling it can really save us. It can save us money by not having to waste it. Yeah. Yeah, I want the peatier one. Now, if you only had the malt one, what I might do is put a drop of liquid smoke in there. I would smell it and you're going to be like, whoa, but you know, or I'm trying to think. It wouldn't even be bad if you put like half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of miso in there. Kind of get some of those flavors if you didn't have any of this. And that would get some of the fermented flavors in there. And I put other stuff in there, didn't I? Okay. And hopefully I'm not supposed to do 2 tablespoons and not a quarter cup. This is why you're getting to see the experiment. I think everyone thinks I just magically think of things and they're perfect. But sometimes, you know, we've been doing this for about an hour. Loving it. Yep. I think it just needed a little more of those flavors. Now it doesn't feel quite so datey. It still has some caramel. It still has some thickness from the cashews. For me, I don't think it needs any coconut milk, but if you tasted it, you could add some coconut milk or nut pod or something like that. So let me let you see what it looks like now. I always look scared, Miss Lisa. Lisa says, Because, yeah, I'm like, oh, I hope I'm not ruining it. But I kind of felt really good. And Nancy says I bought date syrup, which I use in my coffee. Date syrup works great too. I would use less date syrup than I'm using date paste. The taste will be stronger, so will the sweetness. And Stephanie is saying, are we trying to match? Sort of. It's not going to be a one-to-one, but that's what I'm comparing it against. And so now it's a little bit thinner. And I think that's about where I want it. It's still going to have this coating, right? And if this really bothers you, you could either strain it through cheesecloth, or you can blend it in a high-speed blender until that goes away. But I think it's fine the way it is. Okay, so I'm going to pour a little bit more in here in my tasting glass. Okay, you guys can't really see, but see how it moves around a little smoother? It's leaving a lighter, a little bit of a lighter residue. It's never going to leave this lighter residue. They've done a lot of processing with that we're not doing, with heavier machinery than we are. I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. It is not an exact match. I think if you wanted an exact match, you could add a little more. You could add some almond flavoring, like almond extract. But I think it's pretty nice. Now here's the other thing I've got to see. And I don't know if this is going to work or not. But let's see if it breaks in the coffee. Now the coffee isn't super hot, so that will help some too. And it might break a little bit. I think that looks pretty good. Now, if you're making real coffee, it's very acidic. Let it cool a little bit because the heat plus the acid is going to make your homemade milks and creamers more likely to curdle. Now, I use a lot of creamer, just so you know. So let's try these two together, and let's see how that. Let's see how that is. Okay. Cheers. Happy pre-St. Patrick's Day. Oh, see, to me that tastes like a lovely Irish coffee, really. You get those darker tones with a little bit of the maple. I think some maple, so let me put in here some options. Would be all almonds, almond extract, maple syrup. Because the maple that's in that coffee works perfectly. And while this doesn't taste as much like Bailey's coffee to me as it does like Irish coffee, because you do taste those whiskey flavors a little bit more than you do. You don't really taste the whiskey flavors in this because Bailey's was kind of made as a woman's drink to make it civilized, right? So you don't taste the whiskey as much, but you do feel the burn. And here, you taste a little more whiskey and you don't have any burn. I think it's quite delicious. And I think we could call this, you know, the dates equals caramel as well. I think that's pretty daggone good. Let's see what we got here. And Lisa's like me, lots of creamer. Yeah, because creamer's the, you know, I like having all the different flavors and the bitter flavors and things, but excuse me, lots of pollen here, so my apologies. I don't like an IPA beer either, and actually I've been trying all these super cool non-alcoholic beers. Athletic Brewing Company is the name of it, and they have some stouts, they have like a cerveza, they have a copper beer, they have an Irish red, and so I've really been enjoying that. It's not that I don't drink ever at all, but this is very interesting to me, and how they have the flavors. And for me, having a really good cocktail is about how many different layers of flavors. So if I'm getting an alcoholic cocktail out, probably to make that same experiment might cost me $200. So I'd rather spend $15 and get that experience there. But I think it's really nice to try a lot of these non-alcoholic spirits while they're here. I'm also, and I unboxed one. I've got two. Another one came before I could unbox the others, and this is Raising the Bar. And it's not inexpensive. I think it's about $50 a month plus shipping maybe. But then it comes and it has all the things to make 3 or 4 different cocktails, all non-alcoholic, which are pretty awesome. And so I've really been enjoying that, and that's actually, this came in one of them, this bourbon. Sometimes it's just syrups. I've had some honey straws come in, but other than that, everything else was completely vegan, with vegan options on the recipes, like aquafaba instead of egg for the top, which is super cool. Yeah, but if you don't do sugar at all in any forms ever, it's probably not the box for you. And you might be better kind of trying to mix up some things. I want to mix up kind of a gin-ish sort of drink as well that we could do. Oh, Stephanie says the creamer has cane sugar, coconut cream. So it has some thickeners, whiteners. It's basically coconut cream, sugar, and whiteners, and a little bit of thickeners. The barley malt would probably also give it a little bit of hint of sweetness, possibly, or just that. And Kelly says, when sweetened with dates, no harm done. Exactly. And the thing is you have to do what works for you in your, in your diet plan or eating plan or whatever you want to call it. So what we could do to make this without some of these is maybe, smoky tea. What is it? Lapsang tea. You could brew some tea and then maybe have like some pine needles or rosemary and brew a strong tea like that and use it instead of the malt or whiskey or something like that. So that might work as well. So anyhow, this is a non-alcoholic Bailey substitute that, at least gives a nod to the Bailey's Almondine. So thanks guys so much for hanging out with me while I was making this. I will try and take pictures tomorrow and try and get it up on the blog in the morning. Thank you, Lisa. I like playing with things and trying to find it, and I thought I was going to do this all by myself, but I thought it might help you guys even if you're not making something like this. I do this with soups, chilies, stews. If you have something you want to kind of go against, keep that there. If not, just have it in your mind. I remember what that queso tasted like. I remember what this tasted like. There's somebody making me cranky. Did you hear that motorcycle? That is unnecessary. And yes, I am an old woman now. Woo! And there's Fergus. Fergus, make sure you don't get the alcohol one. Fergus, let's not show your behind. How about that? Come on, show them your pretty face. Show them your pretty face. Okay, that's better. The back of his head is better. So, You're so welcome. Yeah, and I think the color's really pretty close. It's a little bit darker than this is, but we also sweetened it with dates. So that's going to cause a color change as well. If we did with maple, it probably would be closer to this color. Oh, good. I'm so glad you guys had fun. Yeah, Fergus, who I guess, Fergus a Scottish name. I don't know. We were trying to give him a Scottish name because he's got that red hair. But he is a fun little boy for sure. Oh, CJ, it was so nice to see you here and so nice to see everyone. Fergus always has to check things out, and he almost always comes at the end of a class, the end of a live. He's like, hello, ladies, here I am. And it's always great hanging out with you too, Lisa. What's for dinner? You know what? We went to, that's a great question. So we got takeout for lunch that I did not eat. So there's a place called Earth to Us, which is a vegan restaurant in Durham, North Carolina. And the owners are Puerto Rican, and they have some really good things. They have, it's like rice with pigeon peas that are spiced really nice with a couple of olives. Maybe one will be in there. And then they call it a yellow bowl, and it's got these chickpeas and this nice mild yellow sauce and some plantains, and it's delightful, and that is what I will be having. Cheryl will be having her leftovers. I think she got the soy barbecue chicken and no, she didn't. She got the rice as well, the rice with the pigeon peas, because it is amazing. So if you guys are in Durham or around the area, make sure to try and go there. It's near a weird shopping center, so when you're getting there, you might be like, I can't possibly be in the right place, but it's safe. You can go in there, so don't worry. It's like a mall that's getting ready to become something else, but it's really delicious food. Oh, Nancy says I have a marmalade cat too. They are crazy. What's a pigeon pea? It's like a field pea in the South. So it's like, you live in Illinois. Yeah, let me see if I can, I'll show you, I think. This is a first. I've never been showing you my leftovers that I was getting ready to heat up. So you never know what you'll see if you hang out with me. Oh, Cheryl, taste this. No, well, we're pretending it's hot.
That's nice. Is that real alcohol?
No.
Wow.
Hi, Fergus. You want to come say hi? Oh, look. He's like, there's food I can jump in. Stephanie says, hi, Cheryl. I haven't forgotten you, Lisa. He's a good boy, but he is nuts. Like you got some stuff coming out of your eye again.
He's out roaming around. I think it's those flowers, those pink flowers.
He has some allergies. Okay, so also you're going to see something naughty in here because I got some fried cauliflower. So just ignore the fried cauliflower. These are the plantains. These are. And obviously it's been in the fridge, so it doesn't look so good. Those are the beans that I'm talking about. And they're delicious. So this rice has lots of spices, see, it will have one or two little olives in there, but it's quite delicious. And I've had a hard week, so try not to judge me for my 2 pieces of fried cauliflower. So, yeah, he's a cutie, isn't he? But, and Nancy, Cheryl likes to tell the story because we have some big, tall cat trees. And he just flings himself in the air and grabs it and twirls around and goes upside down. He does so many crazy things. We haven't had a 1-year-old or a little under 1-year-old possibly cat in decades. So he is hilarious because he is both, I want all the love, and then he's like, I'm a big tough kitty, don't touch me, right? And he's like, huh. And he runs Max around, and like he's totally like, I'm on the stairs, Max, you may not pass, and has terrorized the poor little pit bull as things happen.
He's got to where he makes me put down all my devices and just let him lay on my chest.
And Lisa, that was the pea. It's a bean, but it's kind of what is it? It's gandulas, Gandules possibly. So if you're at a Hispanic market, you can find them there. But it's really good. There's oftentimes at other Puerto Rican restaurants, we've been able to get that, and it's been vegan as well. So that's been kind of cool. Oh, thanks, guys. I know. I just try not to be all out there. Next week is a little bit hard for me, so I'm just trying to prep all the things, and there may be a lot of lives because I like hanging out with you guys. Oh, what does it taste like? All right. I haven't tasted it with like my full-on taster. It's almost like a saucer shaped with a little bit of bite to it. But most of the flavors are all the yummies that are making the rice this color. So good. I want to make a recipe of this, but I need to do more research. But yeah. Nancy says her cat is 9 years old and acts like it's 9 months. And I could see Fergus doing that with Fergus, you are not allowed to go to the bathroom by yourself. It's been a long time since nope. He will just knock that door right on down. He is hilarious, and he has giant paws. And when he runs, it sounds like the dog is running. And when we first got him, because he was a stray, he kind of poofed up, and now he's de-poofed. But he's so heavy pawed. It's really, really fun. Okay, guys. I think I am going to, I'm going to just put you on a weird screen. Thanks to me. So anyhow, I'm going to go now. I think we are going to eat. I'm unsure if our delivery is going to come tonight or if it's been rescheduled.
Hasn't been yet.
It hasn't been rescheduled. So I'll tell you a secret, those of you here till the bitter end. We were supposed to get a Peloton today. So if you're on Peloton, email me at kathyhester@gmail.com, and we will, if there's friending on it, we will friend you. We've got 30-day free trial. If it doesn't get used every day, it's going back. But but if you have some Peloton tips, tricks,
Just canceled for today.
yeah, just let me know, okay? Anyhow, I'll see you guys tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on Chef HA's YouTube channel. So come hang with me then, okay?